Yep.
They were able to then carry that through. They didn't dominate it, but they stayed even with Team Zolamid because they had that early game advantage.
Absolutely. Well, let's start to talk about the draft, Suijay. What are you expecting coming into this series, especially from NRG? Because TSM, we know their strategies. This team has been around for a long time. Let's talk a little bit more about NRG's draft. What are you anticipating in this game?
Yeah, NRG is going to want to get their hands on Glaive. They played Glaive twice yesterday, so I can see that potentially being first picked right off the bat like they did twice, actually. They picked Glaive immediately on B side and A side. I can see potentially TSM banning that away because Glaive is such a good flex pick for them. They can play it in lane, they can play it in jungle. Both Lightning T plays it in lane and jungle. And I think Kestrel and Sky are also a huge pick too because they like those two picks, that two-pick combo for their composition here.
All right, we'll see whether that is going to come on through. Baron, unsurprisingly, going to be the first ban. We've seen that a lot across the course of not only this week, but this entire season of the Vainglory8 so far. TSM going to be looking to answer that, and it is going to be that Grumpjaw coming on through. So the standard first two bans, they're looking to come into this series with like a default draft to kick things off and then see where it goes from there.
Yeah, TSM really likes to make sure that Grumpjaw is off the board. They're okay with letting the Baron through. They actually let the Baron through yesterday. They let the Grace through both games until the second phase of bans. They actually were able to secure it themselves when they were on B side, but it was always the Grumpjaw they make sure does not get through. Vox will be the first pick, though, by NRG. Again, very strong pick right now. Can deal with the Grace if Team Zolamid does decide to go that route, and they do. So NRG will have to try and figure out how they're going to build around this Vox.
Yeah, they're going to party ban, I was going to say Baptiste, but they're going to instead ban the Lyra. So at least Baptiste and Koshka open. And this is a potential pickup here. So if NRG bans Baptiste, I think Koshka will be picked up by TSM.
Vonsi definitely played a lot of Baptiste last week, so wouldn't be surprised to see that picked up by TSM regardless. I find it amusing how Vox has become a very common first pick, despite both him and one of his staple items being nerfed in 2.6, but because of the introduction of Grace, he kind of got an indirect buff just in matchups.
It's also, it wasn't a massive nerf. It was 5% off.
It was like
a
tweak.
It was 5% attack speed off of him, 5% attack speed off of the Poison Shiv, which actually ends up coming out to about a 7% attack speed nerf overall, because the 5% of the Poison Shiv is affecting the already reduced attack speed from Vox himself. So it's not a massive nerf, which is why we're still seeing Vox be a top tier laner.
I see Baptiste coming out here, and then I see NRG potentially picking up Sky if they take Baptiste on this pick. Oh, they're going to go with Idris here, which is actually a good counter into Vox if played correctly.
Yep.
So I think here, Sky may be a pick here. Glaive, they usually pick up. Those are kind of the two junglers that Lightning T likes to play here in jungle.
And the Idris is actually, yesterday when we were talking about Grace for the first time, Idris was the example we were giving of, okay, you can go diving in with something like an Idris, get the heal from the Grace, and stick in that fight for so long. We saw actually Idris being banned a lot in Europe, especially once Grace was already picked. So this is going to be a very strong pickup for the side of TSM.
Not to mention Idris is a huge comfort pick for Best Chuck NA as well, but Arden going to be locked in for NRG.
Yeah, Arden is a pretty safe pick here, and now they will kind of land on those two picks. I feel Lightning T is probably leaning on potentially that Glaive or Sky, but I think he's probably leaning towards Sky a little bit more, or maybe he might even do a CPBF. I think out of those three, those are the picks, but I think Sky is just Lightning T's like signature hero that he might just pick, because it's good into Grace. You know, it's a good kiting, and the Frostburn can really slow her down and prevent her from getting onto Vox, etc. So let's see what NRG is going to decide here.
Yep, still options available to them, but only 10 seconds to decide what those options are going to lead to. And it is going to be a Black Feather coming on through. So relatively standard meta composition coming out from NRG, but not quite the powerhouse compositions that we've been seeing of late in these games. And let's bear in mind, Baptiste has made it all the way through this draft.
Yes.
Grace is in the composition of TSM. We could be seeing that terrifying combo once more.
Yeah, and even though Blackfeather can do a really good job of dealing with a lot of crowd control, having the Baptiste with the Grace just provides so much crowd control that it doesn't matter if you're Blackfeather with a reflex block and a Crucible. Like, there's so many things that you have to worry about coming out at you. You have the Fearsome Shade, you have the Ordained, you have the Holy Nova. Like that's so much to try and deal with.
We're not going to see it in this game, though. Kestrel will be the final lock-in. But we've seen Von-C play his fair share of Kestrel as well. That's not something that he's going to be very new to.
Kestrel's where he first made his name. Like, that was where he made his impact in the world of Vainglory. It was on a Kestrel.
He did, especially in the, I believe, Spring Championships when he played it so well and actually beat TSM when he was on Nemesis at the time. So this is a combination they've played before in terms of Grace Kestrel. That's a combo that they have played before. But what's different is instead of Glade this time, they have Idris.
Yeah, we'll see how that's going to pan out with that Kestrel in the mix as well. It's going to be an interesting one. I'm curious to see against that Grace whether NRG can be aggressive enough in the early game like we talked about earlier. What are we expecting out of NRG coming into this one, Suijay? What's their strategy going to be?
Well, their strategy is to get to their mid-game power spike when Black Feather turns level 6, has a Shatter Glass. They need to get onto Kestrel and delete her. If they let Von-C outpoke them and get them low, they're going to lose every single fight.
Yeah, the Black Feather, I think, was picked up expecting a Baptiste, perhaps, because, again, the ability to dodge, crowd control, and have the poke advantage over Baptiste. But Kestrel, I think, was a great counter pick against that Black Feather. Really smart draft. Yeah,
Von-C's just there like, you think you can poke? Let me show you what Kestrel is. Well, that is going to be our drafts for this first game. Get in touch using the hashtag Vainglory8 on Twitter to let us know who you are going to be supporting. It's going to be TSM up against NRG. Let's head on into the game.
Well, that's right. A beautiful, a rare, mystifying matchup between NRG and Team Solo Mid. Scoundrel. This is going to be pretty exciting stuff. We're going to see a little CP Black Feather. We're going to see a lot of burst damage coming out. And the most beautiful thing of all, Von-C Kestrel.
I don't know, man. I'm probably too tilted to Cassidy right now.
Honestly, look, what happens in the break stays in the break. Be a professional about this, please.
I'm joking, buddy. Anyway, yes, Von-C, CP Kestrel coming out here. And look at Flash X. He started with a weapon blade. He's looking to get use out of the extra scaling on his heroic perk and do a bit of dueling in the early game. Very aggressive moves for him, especially having that those boots picked up as well, giving him the same kind of level of mobility that we had seen on Gabe Vizzle when Gabe Vizzle piloted that Grace in the previous series.
Ooh, is Flash going to get in here and get this mid? He's going to try. He's not going to grab it. Damage comes out onto Bradley, though, and Flash is actually threatening NRG over here. Lightning T Bradley going to go ahead and back up. No harm, no foul, but nice plays out of Flash early. I like it. And this means Von-C is going to have a nice clean rotation himself. He knows exactly what's happening. Up in the lane, though, Juan Hernandez taking quite a bit of damage. Flash going to jump in. Cancels off that teleport. It's going to delay him out. But Best Chuck getting the better of Juan up in the lane.
Again, Grace has the ability to do this because of the high movement speed that she's got, the high base movement speed, the fact that most Grace captains right now are starting with those boots to be aggressive in the early jungle. And Flash picking up the weapon blade has given him even more pressure potential because of the scaling that on the heroic perk that he has. It just means he can be even more of a in the early game against the enemy who are trying to defend their own jungle. And because of that, what Grace has allowed most junglers to achieve is getting a free Elder Tree in the mid, which gives them a level advantage, gives Von-C a bit more farm in his back pocket, which can accelerate into item spikes, like picking up a couple of bit of extra crystal bits, working towards what could be a Shatter Glass. That's what Grace does, Humanist. Just basically buys time for your jungler to get free farm, essentially, especially the Elder Tree being such an important pickup.
That is correct. It's not being TSM that gives you Elder Treants, it's being Grace that gives you Elder Treants. Right now, FlashX doing a good job once again to zone out. Zone out. Lightning T and Bradley. A lot of Glimmer Shots connecting, actually. NRG, you gotta get back. It's the active camel forward. Von-C not connecting on that second round of Glimmer Shots, so though NRG feeling very threatened. Lightning T gonna go ahead and back out, and this means Von-C should be able to get the backs. Probably grabs all of them. That's a lot of extra gold into his pocket.
Massive amount of extra gold into his pocket as well. I love the combo between Grace and Kestrel too, especially CP Kestrel. Use A, you get the slow down, makes it a lot easier for Von-C to line those shots up onto particular targets that he's following from the Flash X engage. Looks like they're going to try and catch out Juan Hernandez, who looked to make a cheeky attempt to steal some backs away. Doesn't get enough damage down. Vox not super quick at taking these camps, and Von-C and Flash X backed off and should be able to respond. This has been a whitewash of the jungle for these guys so far. Lightning T will steal that forward away from Von-C.
Yeah, good job. Flash not going to connect on his heroic perk there, and Juan trying to kite back, doing a pretty good job. TSM were just like a touch behind, cleaning up and finding kills on this last rotation here. Now, About 30 seconds, we'll see Crystal Sentry rotating out onto the map, but for now, it's Lightning T who's found Von-C, or is it Von-C that found Lightning T? Either way, Lightning T forced out potions, boots himself to safety, and this is just a disaster of an early game.
I mean, it all stemmed from the ability to give Von-C that free early jungle, because FlashX making those moves as a Grace in the early game, forcing Lightning T and Bradley out. And now Von-C has a level advantage over Lightning T, a farm advantage as well, and has stolen away the majority of Lightning T's jungle, so limiting his gold input too.
Yeah, that's
beautifully orchestrated, beautifully orchestrated.
Not what you want, but Von-C taking a lot of damage because Lightning T actually found him first this time. This should be a dead Kestrel here any moment. There you go, Lightning T able to get it, and it doesn't matter. Like, level advantage, you have net worth advantage, doesn't matter. Not like he was holding all the items that he had the gold to purchase, but the fact that he was caught out like that. If Lightning T can jump on the Kestrel, he will find the kill. But as I blubber on, Best Chuck able to drop down with Flash, and I thought they were going to get the kill here, but Bradley says no. Have a Vanguard get out of there, bud. What a great Arden player.
Yeah, and obviously Lightning T, I think he used his boots to get out of there as well, so able to dodge out from a couple of basic attacks on Best Chuck. I don't know whether Best Chuck actually cancelled a final basic attack and missed out on the kill, because I think he thought he was going to get the kill onto Lightning T there, but was the case. Still only lose one jungle trio. Von-C again going super aggressive onto Lightning T here.
Yeah, Von-C playing some games. I mean, his Kestrel. I love Von-C's Kestrel. It's one of the best out there. You got to be careful though at this point. We're gonna see actually a drop down from Chuck. I guess they had the positioning advantage, so they're doing just all right. One shot will come out. Just kind of a wild one shot guessing. Not going to connect, but Von-C, he grabs the fronts. Let's see, what's he gonna go? Just Shatter Glass, pretty standard build. Well, he's not even a complete, just picking up crystal bits. He just wants CP. Just give me that crystal power.
One thing that I think Von-C has kind of underestimated, though, is the fact that Lightning T will burst him very quickly at this CP build. You can't go toe-to-toe in melee range versus Lightning T on the CP Black Feather. You do have to respect how easy it is for a CP Black Feather to burst a Squishy, especially if he does hit the on point. Von-C was on the receiving end of that twice in a row. Second time he got bailed out by a fountain from FlashX, but you do have to respect how important that is and maintain that range advantage that you have pre-level 8 for Von-C. Maybe not make too many solo invades without the backup of FlashX there.
And currently we're going to have all of TSM up in the lane, and Juan does not know what's going on. He gets the Vanguard out because Bradley does. Bradley with those spidey senses. Juan shot connects onto Bradley. He's going to be okay. It's all calculated, holds his fountain, no panic there. Just cool, calm, and collected. Bradley. What a guy.
You're going to siege onto this turret as well. They've got great siege with the Chakram and the Glimmer shots. Easy to just shove those out onto the turret and take it very quickly. You hear me? If Juan goes down to one shot, one kill, please can you say Juan shot, Juan killed?
I don't know if in the moment I will remember to do that, but that's pretty good. I mean, I'd like to take a moment and just soak that one in, even though, you know, it hasn't happened, and I may fail it. We just know that that one exists. It's out there. We can't bottle that one up again.
Just have to enjoy it. Now that it's here, just crack it open and enjoy it.
Cracking it open and enjoy it. Let's go. Team Solo Mid. Doing pretty well. They have control of the map, net worth advantage, continuing to build. Would you call it the beginning of a snowball here?
It does feel that way. It feels like 3K gold has just suddenly opened up, even with just first blood on the side of NRG. But again, this is TSM. They had great siege early on. You've got that range advantage in lane. You've got the ability to protect your carries if they do try to get aggressed on when sieging that turret. And they can just shove everybody in lane and push onto these turrets, because it's very difficult at this point for NRG to even respond, especially pre-level. Who's still level 7, by the way, looking for a flank opportunity. Check Bradley. He might go for a gauntlet.
Ooh, Bradley drops that gauntlet. What an Arden. It's Lightning T on the back, though. Misses is on point. You can't do that. That's Von-C's Kestrel. Fountain's going to come out here, keeping Best Chuck alive. Best Chuck dances onto the active camo. They find the kill. Juan kiting back. You're on the Grace, bro. That's not the target you want. And Von-C, one Glimmer Shot 2. See, I should have said Juan Glimmer Shot 2. Almost finding the kill. But this is not a defense that NRG can make. They're going to lose Lightning T. They're going to lose a turret as well. And Team Solo Mid just being bullies out here on the map.
I think Best Chuck actually ultimated out of the Divine Intervention, so didn't get the heal from FlashX, but like you said, danced onto the active camo from Von-C, giving them that trap to punish Lightning T being super aggressive there, and again achieve the same end result that they've been looking to whenever they've looked to make plays in lane. The end outcome from TSM has always been looking to take a turret, and because they have that range advantage, they have the poke of the Chakram and the Glimmer Shot, it's so easy for them to step up to a turret and start firing their Glimmer Shots, firing their Chakrams, either landing it on the turret for the damage or landing it onto the members defending it from NRG. The net result is the same. Eventually you're going to gain some ability to take that turret down, and just TSM rinse and repeated from their first tier 1 to do it on the tier 2 too.
Yeah, really strong stuff right now. I think also in that last engagement, I mean, well, it's not that I think Lightning Team missed the on point, but I think missing that on point causes them to lose that fight. Like,
yeah,
if Vonce's hit by that, he's not going into active camo, he takes huge burst damage, and you stick to him. Because Bradley had actually a pretty good gauntlet there.
I feel like Vonce's positional moves in that fight made it more like he dodged it. Like, he looked like he was juking around to make sure that it was very difficult. Big hit!
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's both a juke and a miss, obviously.
True, true. I mean, they're basically the same thing, right? It just depends on the perspective you look at it. Do you look at it that the player was good enough to dodge the skill shot, or do you look at it that the player missed the skill shot? Like, it's the same thing, really, isn't it?
Yeah, to a certain extent, because I think it's more of a miss because he knew that he was trying to dodge it, saying he threw it anyway. But Bradley, huge damage. This is TSM that seems to have the advantage. Lightning T misses another on point, or was it a dodge by Vance? Vance stands his ground, goes down. Lightning T should be able to boot his way out of this one. Best Chuck, he's gonna shroud step himself forward. The Chakram's out. Lightning T, I don't even get out of this. Oh, the on point connects, and they feel the threat. They feel the burn of that on pointing scoundrel, and they don't want to chase in there.
Yeah, Shatterglass, really good against the same reason that Von C has gone Shatterglass, the same reason you're seeing Shatterglass come out on Lightning T. Double squishy, makes those on points hit really hard if you don't have shielding. And Best Chuck doesn't have shielding. He's got a reflex block and some armor there. Working towards a Tension Bow, standard Idris build coming out again for these guys. Tension Bow, Poison Shiv, and Sorrow Blade. Von C, where is Von C moving? Is he moving towards a Shatterglass? Flash X looks like he's moving towards a Shatterglass, by the way. People might find that odd, but Gracie's got incredible scaling on her B and her ultimate. It means your ultimate can heal well over 1,000 at level 3.
And that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty solid.
Yeah, I imagine Von C probably goes for that second shatter. And then we'll see maybe if he goes, he can complete a clockwork, whatever he wants to. One shot, not connecting. Juan Vanguard does, though. Juan Fountain as well. Keeps Juan Hernandez. See, it's not the Hernandez, it's the Hernandez part that I always stick on. Keeps him alive. Lightning T, you're taking a lot of damage, bud. Gotta be careful there. Either way, the Fountain is down for NRG, and Team Solo Mid bear down onto the choke point turret here. Doing a pretty good job. Flares coming out, making sure they keep track of Von C. I really like that by Bradley. That's one of the big things you have to do, is kind of constantly flare that area where a Kestrel might approach from.
Poison Shiv doing some serious work from Juan Hernandez this time. You saw Best Chuck only received 340 healing from the Divine Intervention from Flash X, even despite the fact that he had the components for Shatterglass, so it should have been doing a lot more. That's the power of Poison Shiv against these types of heal compositions. It really limits the healing that can be done. And Shatterglass now finished for Flash X. He's going to have a little bit of extra damage coming through from all of his abilities, but also key component being that extra healing that he receives on his ultimate. Doesn't have a Crucible, relying on the reflex blocks from Best Chuck and Von C to deal with the likes of the Gauntlet. I guess Crucible would be an afterthought, maybe after the Atlas Pauldrons, that would be the next point of call for Flash X.
Definitely would be a good call for these guys. At the moment, they're going to go ahead and just take out the Gold Miner. Bradley trying to move forward. I think it's kind of crazy that TSM, like all of TSM, walked through that left tri-brush, and that scout trap was there the whole time. It didn't get cleared out. Best Chuck finally takes the movement through, and we'll go ahead and clear it. But yeah, that actually gave a lot of vision over to NRG for quite a while there.
What I really like about Flash X's itemization in this game is he's second itemed Contraption. You might say, why has he gone for Contraption? They've not got anyone that needs a Contraption. Contraption is the best way to counter a Contraption. And Bradley was going to go a Contraption because he's going up against the CP Kestrel. So if you get that before Bradley, you can win the Vision War before it even starts. Big engage here, Bonsi.
Oh, Lightning T, he smelled blood trying to get in there, but it's Best Chuck. He's finding the damage. Chakram will miss on its return, and Bradley just jumped right on top of his team with that gauntlet. It's not enough. They can't kite around the walls there, and Bradley with the self-Vanguard out. Flash trying to slow him down. His team, will Von C actually get up there? No, Bradley's not going to have any of that business. This should be choke point turret going down, and Team Solo Mid finding 2 kills, not losing anything.
Von C also going to take the backs away on his way out, but again, yes, big heal came from FlashX down onto Von C, and then Von C was basically untouched. There was the big wall of FlashX and Best Chuck NA to get through for Lightning T and Juan Hernandez, and Von C was able to land glimmer shots for free, even though he got stunned up by the gauntlet, was able to walk out of that and land some big glimmer shots to take out Juan Hernandez and Lightning T in that fight. And positionally, Von C had moved himself to an area of the fight that people either had to commit to him.
Kiernan? Well, we may or may not have lost Scoundrel. I may or may not be disconnected right now, but I see the game in front of me, so I'm thinking I'm not disconnected. So I'll go ahead and cast this until Kiernan's back with us.
I thought I was still here the whole time. I heard you perfectly and the game was still going. I must have just been on well, maybe on everyone else's end.
No, I was just trolling you, bro. I could hear you too. I'm just kidding. I couldn't hear you. But yeah, you're back, and that's the important thing. That I'm not alone. People aren't forced to listen to me solo cast this one. I'm no Dowsy. I'll do my best though. Team solo mid, complete control of the map. It's chicken pox on the map right now, Kiernan. And what would you recommend? What would be your medical opinion for NRG? What's their best chance of comeback here?
I think, you know, you need to play the Lightning T game where you can try and get a lot of damage onto Von C before the fight breaks out. But the problem is you're going up against a similar ranged ability. Level 8, overdriven, on point, it's a similar range to the glimmer shot, so you have to be so careful about the way you position, but you need to be able to, I think, rush down Von C somehow in these fights. It's still very, oh, the damage onto Bradley.
Whoa! Knifed him! Yeah! I should drop in chat right now and say, turn your volume down, folks, but I'm not gonna do that.
Threading the needle there, and Juan was really trying to get in the way of it, but he just didn't. Von C double shattered glass sweeping through and taking Bradley off the Halcyon fold, gives him a free Kraken as well. Tried to go for the ultimate on Vox to pick that one up. Didn't manage to do so. The problem for NRG right now is they need to somehow deal with Von C, but
there's no dealing with Von C. Let's be real. Scoundrel! Let's be real, there's no dealing with Von C. You may be hearing me. I'm not hearing you currently. Let's go ahead and close this out. Kiernan will be back in just a second. Best Chuck is going to move forward into this brush. It's an on point. Bradley's down with the gauntlet. Going to be Flash moving forward while Von C looks to kite back. Can they get onto Von C? Look at the healing coming out onto Von C. Lightning T wishes he could get that kind of healing. And this is Juan Hernandez trying to find the damage, but Best Chuck is there, chops him down. And Bradley running for the hills at this point as Von C chases him down. Bradley not going to walk into that one there.
I can hear you perfectly the whole time, Humanist. I don't know if you're trolling me or not anymore.
I'm both trolling you and not trolling you at the same time, but a little bit more not trolling you at the moment because I couldn't hear you. I mean, I don't know what's going on. Maybe I have selective hearing and I can hear in-game sounds and I'm not lagging, but I just can't hear you.
Well, maybe it's a TeamSpeak thing. I could hear you the whole time. No lagging in the game, but tell you what, TSM replicating that C9 dominance in their game, a 17-minute game over NRG right there, and Von C, given his CP Kestrel, definitely dominated with it in the early game, all in part due to that early advantage that FlashX gave over to them.
So many advantages, early, mid, late game advantages. FlashX, just godly player. Where's a godly hero? Grace. Let's see what our analysts have to say about this. Munchables, guys, break it down.
Thank you very much, Humanist. Well, that was definitely a one-sided game. We'd be lying if we said otherwise. TSM taking a handed victory over NRG in the first game of that series. I mean, break that down a little bit for me, guys, because compositionally, it didn't seem too one-sided, right?
Compositionally, it didn't seem too one-sided. Even in the early game, it didn't seem too one-sided. NRG were doing what they needed to do at the very start of the game, but unfortunately, they just weren't able to hold up to Team Solo Mid as we got into the mid and late game.
Yeah, and they tried to get on that Kestrel, and every time they did, FlashX would just cast Divine Intervention onto Von C. He would get like a 900+ heal and just survive those fights. I mean, it was just a lot of healing and a lot of damage coming out from TSM, and then Lightning T just couldn't survive. You know, he just got bursted down either by Kestrel or Idris here, and it just didn't work out. And they could not get on that Kestrel. And every time that they could not kill Kestrel, the fight just didn't work out for NRG.
Yeah, and we saw them trying to focus Beststruck NA as well. And multiple times they try to get onto him, but his team protects him so well, and he'd escape on a sliver of HP.
Yeah, and that's what these compositions are so good at with a Grace. And you get two squishier heroes that have a lot of mobility and a little bit of utility to keep themselves alive. Obviously, Idris has his ultimate. Kestrel has the active camo. When you have that combination along with the Grace, it's just so difficult to actually lock down and take out one of those targets.
Yeah, I love in that final replay as well. One was full HP and just like sidesteps the one shot and lets his teammate
Yeah, poor
die.
Bradley, poor Bradley.
Yeah, that could have been the beautiful bodyguard moment, but it was not meant to be. Well, TSM, a convincing victory for Game 1. What is going to change coming into Game 2? Is there anything NRG can do to shut down this TSM powerhouse?
Ban Grace. Don't give TSM Grace.
Okay, ban Grace. I mean, I feel like that's not even TSM specific though, right? That's kind of just really strong right now.
Yeah, it's looking so good. I mean, I don't know if they're going to be able to do enough to be able to overcome Team Solo Mid. They just look too good, too clean with their gameplay. NRG still has a ways to go before they get onto that level. But, like I said, they are definitely improving. Through the first 8 minutes, they were still at least, hanging in there with Team Solo Mid. They weren't falling behind right off the bat like other teams have.
So we'll let the start of the draft play itself out a little bit. I want to talk a bit about what do NRG need to change if they want to get into the series? Like, what is the difference between TSM and NRG when we get in game? How is it that TSM...
They need to not lose the early game. Vonsi got 2 full jungle rotations from Lightning T's backs in the early game, and that allowed him to get ahead in damage and items, and which allowed them to snowball, and they got the first turret at the 8-minute mark, or 7-minute mark, then they got the second turret at the, I think, 8-minute mark. It was kind of insane, the early game pressure that TSM put on them.
Well, moving over to the draft then, it is going to be Grumpjaw banned by TSM as per usual, but NRG taking away the Vox. They do not want to allow Beststruck to get onto that one, but I mean,
Baron.
He didn't have Vox last time, and Baron is
There we
available.
go.
There we go. First pick of the day. We've seen that banned every single other game.
Yeah, it's the first time Baron's gone through, and now NRG can look for a Grace if they want to. The protection she offers can be very strong. If you see someone about to get bursted down, once Baron uses jump jets, use your benediction onto him, provide your allies with that directional shield that will absorb a good amount of that damage. It's just going to be a matter of if they can build a composition around that and still make it work with the execution that they need.
Certainly.
Oh, they're going to pick Lyra instead of Grace here, which could work, because Lyra can portal onto Baron and cause a lot of mayhem with her bulwark there. So they need to ban Grace here. They need to ban Grace and not give a healer over to Baron.
Yeah, I feel like if Grace gets through here, then that's all she wrote. It is going to be banned. Thank goodness for NRG right there. They are going to ban that one away. Taking away Grace and Vox. So good bans from NRG. We'll see how they can finish out their composition to try and go against the powerhouse that is Baron. But Glaive taken off the board.
Yeah, Glaive going to be taken away from Team Solo Mid. One of the heroes that can get into Baron's face and disrupt what he's going to be trying to do. He's very squishy, very easy target through the early game if you can get onto him. So I like the ban, making sure that that's one of those strong counters in the early game to the Baron. They obviously are going to be wanting to play this Baron that gets ramped up very quickly. Idris is actually a really good pick as well, because again, Idris is a hero that wants to get onto a squishy target and just nuke them, blow them up in an instant with his empowered attack from using his dash.
Yeah, absolutely. And also takes it away from Beststruck NA. That's what we saw him playing last game. The Vox taken away as well. Obviously, he's going to be on Baron, so I think he's okay.
Take it away from him when he's already got Baron.
Yeah, but at least they've got that power pick on their side.
I think here there's Koshka or Baptiste are probably the best options here, and then Koshka Adagio or Baptiste Adagio would work. Yep, they would go with Koshka Adagio, and boom, that's a really strong early game composition because it's Koshka with a healer. This is the OP combo in jungle that Armada actually ran at Worlds that dominated everybody.
Yeah, definitely. You can really get away with a lot with this kind of composition. Yep. You can be very aggressive and still not really be punished too heavily because of the sustain that Adagio will bring and the extra damage he can offer.
Yeah, that early game pressure is going to be massive. And again, we talked about wanting to get this Baron online early. Akashka with an Adagio jumping in onto the lane, onto very likely what will be this Idris. they can find early kills by taking advantage of those very early power spikes.
Well, we'll see what NRG are going to do to try and answer this early aggression as they look towards their final pick. Just 12 seconds on the clock, so they've got to come to a conclusion shortly. They've got two very powerful picks so far, and we'll see how they round out.
If they can play Baptiste, they should pick it here, but instead they're going to go with the Samuel, and that's actually not bad. Koshka Adaji is a little stronger in the early game, though, against Samuel Lyra. But Samuel Lyra is going to scale more heavily in the late game. But then they're going to face a Baron. So this is really kind of an even matchup. But I think TSM is definitely going to snowball this early game here.
Okay, so when we look at the compositions, I want you guys to speak some words of hope to me for NRG. What can they do with this composition that might net them a win?
Be very careful at level 1 in the jungle. Wait for Samuel to be level 2. Once he's level 2, then they can try and contest Team Solo Mid. Even though Koshka is very strong, Samuel's level 2 power spike is massive. If you can find an early kill, steal away some of the jungle, then perhaps you could start to build yourself up a little bit of an edge.
Suijay?
Counter rotate. You can't really fight Koshka or try to contest. She's going to last hit over you. So they got to be very careful with the rotations, because if Koshka catches off Samuel off guard like Von C did last game against Blackfeather with his Kestrel, then NRG's in trouble.
Okay, so got to be very careful in this early game. It is going to be all about not allowing this Koshka to run away with things. Let us know who you are supporting. Hashtag Vainglory8. Let us know on Twitter. But without further ado, it's time to get on into this game. TSM up against NRG.
Well, that's right. TSM up against NRG. And this should be a pretty good matchup here. I like the draft that NRG has put together, Scoundrel. And since Muncible's talking about Twitter stuff, I had Best Chuck in the lobby talking about his Twitter. He said he's pretty active, looking for some more followers as well. So I don't know. He wanted that shout out. I gave it to him. So he can get out there. He's actually pretty funny. Follow that guy.
Yeah, I like Best Chuck. He's a good guy. I like watching his stream as well. Very informative. Good plays all round. Guys, just go and follow a bit of Best Chuck.
Flash? Are you? No, Flash playing some games over here. That's Lightning T that's going to grab his mid, but that is 3-man for NRG up against Flash X, pretty much just single-handedly being a nuisance. This means Von C is going to get a clean, easy rotation once again, and Best Chuck gets his pretty much first wave just free of charge, just really no fear for him, which means that Koshka's going to move over with level advantage, and this could be scary here in a second. Flash! Flash takes the back trans. Oh, NRG.
I mean, let's look at this from what Flash has done in every single game so far. He takes the aggressive move to guarantee Von C middle Treon, and also a pretty clear path in the early jungle. Also prevents Samuel from hitting level 2 easily, and now it's a level 1 Samuel going up against Von C's Koshka who's level 2. Let's see if this pans out.
Yeah, that's not working too good for you there, Lightning T. And, well, he's going to go back. Now, see, Tasty Bacon and Sweet J were saying that NRG should play with a little fear in the first couple levels. So you got no fear up against much fear. Currently, it's not really working out for NRG.
Well, again, this is all because of Flash X's ability to just single-handedly somehow prevent NRG from responding, and they lose out early level 2 on their jungler, which is so important for a jungler like Samuel, because you want to exploit the fact his level 2 is just so good. By Flash X making that move, and not dying, obviously.
But it's Juan Hernandez down in the jungle. He's out by himself, and Von C's lighting him up. Look at that Shroud Step buying time. Jukes Von C through the brush. Just such calculated mechanical plays by Juan right here. He will go down though. Not the first, the second kill over here for TSM. 2.5 minutes in, falling apart.
Yeah, absolutely, and it all stems back to that early game from Flash. Again, Von C having the level advantage over Samuel. Samuel's not level 2. Von C has great dueling potential with the movement speed that he gets from Koshka. Shredded Lightning T alive, and he just face-checked into Von C as well. You have to expect that Von C's going to move into your jungle after the start that Flash X gave him. And look at the response from NRG. They are just trying to put pressure onto Best Chuck here. He might even go down.
Yeah, he's down. Drop that aggro, bruh. Yeah, Lightning T. I'm gonna drop that aggro. He's getting out of there, but Von C is trading with Juan. Can we have the same play on the reverse side of the map? Von C, he's in there, but this time Bradley's there as well. What's the play? Oh, Von C is just like, I run about 3,000 miles per hour. Ooh! Eats the turret shot. Bradley's basics as well, and gets himself out of there. A little bit different story on that side.
Yeah, I mean, I think at this point again, NRG had just lost their jungle, so they are just trying to look to put pressure on somewhere else, which happens to be in the lane. They've got good siege, they've got the Samuel and the Idris. It's going to give them the potential to put pressure onto Best Chuck very early on. But by continuing pressure in the jungle, Best Chuck is by sort of the way that the NRG are going to respond. He's either going to be given a bit more of a free laning phase, or they're just going to give Vonsi a massive advantage by letting him have free roam in the jungle. So this is a great start for TSM. I don't see many ways that they can throw this at this point in time because Samuel hasn't got off to the start that he would have wanted, and Vonsi can continue to pressure him out in the jungle, and that's the case that it is here. These backs are about as far as Lightning T feels capable of going. Everything else seems to be Vonsi's territory.
You are not that talented of a throw artist if you can't imagine how they could throw this one. I could think of many ways that we could throw this game right here, right now.
I need to do a stint on your team, Humanist, just so I can learn the real art of the throw.
I mean, honestly, I think that's where winning begins. Like, when you know what it takes to throw a game, you know what it takes to win the game. A beautiful throw can't come without knowing the capabilities of a win. Currently, though, NRG actually doing okay in this moment as they kind of are able to get a little bit of poke out onto Best Chuck and Flash. Now, Flash is going to get that heal. He wanted to be able to splash that Gift of Fire so that he could get that energy regen up. Not the case on this go-around, but that's okay for him. Best Chuck getting most of the last hits. Lightning T in that Drifting Dark plus Mouse and Verdict connecting. Respectable damage, but not really threatening too much. And this whole time, we have Huan Z in the jungle here on his Koshka, and he's going to take the backs. He did his pretty much, well, no, he skipped his mid and his fronts to go ahead and take the full rotation from NRG because I guess he realizes NRG is too scared to drop down there.
Well, that's exactly it, Humanist. You've hit the nail on the head. NRG do not want to go into their own jungle because Vonsi has just got that level of lead. It's a 2-level advantage over Lightning T. I mean, Lightning T has just hit level 5, but it was 2 at the time. They have their advantages in lane. They have their advantages to group up in lane, use their range advantage over TSM, and try and put pressure onto Best Chuck NA early on. That's where they could potentially find a way back into this game. There's no way right now that Samuel duels Vonsi in the jungle. Vonsi is just too far ahead. That's why he's gone after Shock so early as well, because he's just now going to shred through targets. Here we go.
Yummy Catnip Frenzy is going to come out. Bright Bulwark, not enough to stop that off. And
What
he just got
the hell?
melted, brother. Not much to say about that one.
That was a quick kill.
That was a quick kill. Let's see if they get another one. Turn this around and just slap TSM in the face. Who does that? So much disrespect, just diving in like that. You guys know that there's a turret there? This is Juan Hernandez you're dealing with. Weapon Idris, and he's starting to actually get some items. Best Chuck, though, just throwing out these attacks. And this is going to get so much scarier as time goes on. As Chuck gets a little more range on his basic attacks with that ultimate, and he gets a little more weapon power. It's actually, I'm really scared for NRG. Bradley, Bradley is the guy that has to attempt to be a front line for this team, and he just can't do anything right now. TSM bears down onto the turret as NRG doing their best to try and defend. Juan taking a lot of damage on the front side of this fight, just burning down. Bradley will have his fountain coming up here just a second, though.
Lightning T's also gone for the Frostburn here that gives them the control of these team fights. Again, the only way NRG comes out on top here is by trying to use their range in this mid game where SJKNA hasn't got a huge amount of points in his C ability, so still is stuck at a sort of a medium length range for Baron as far as it goes, and they have that range over Koshka. They try and use that Frostburn to dissuade her from engaging. You feel like there's going to be a very short-lived period where NRG can use that advantage, and oh God, all of these games today have been won from the jungle, Humanist. Every game that we've seen has just been won from an early game jungle dominance.
And that's why I only play jungle, you know? That's basically, you live or die by the jungle, Kiernan.
Do you know what? I can't agree with you because I don't play jungle. In fact, jungle is my worst role, Humanist.
Exactly, that's probably your main problem at this point. We'll work on that later. That's another topic, another time. Right now, I mean, NRG, they could be trying to draft for third place match right now. We don't know. There's a lot of damage coming out. No, I mean my kid, but honestly, we still have a match on our hands here. And while Baron has incredible damage and high mobility, and he's incredibly hard to lock down and probably the better player, they still have a chance. Vonsi jumps in, Yummy Catnip Frenzy, Lightning Team melted. And, well, there used to be an Idris there. There's not anymore. Once he respawns in about 12 seconds, they're going to have an opportunity where maybe they can get out on the map and get into the rush and surprise these guys, but I just don't know what else they can do.
I love how Humanist is just thinking of things to say that You know, it's like they can maybe come back in. They can maybe walk out of their base and not get killed in the first 3 seconds. It's a real maybe here for NRG.
I bet if he stayed on the healing platform and just got trickle gold for his next like 2 items, they'd have a chance.
They're still going up against the Baron, who is a monster in the late game as well. And Best Chuck, one of the best carries in North America at this point as well. You know, positionally, very rarely going to get caught out. So dependable as a laner. I mean, just Von C, though, is absolutely on fire. He's been a monster this series. I can't wait for what is inevitably, you feel, going to be that matchup of this week's VG8 between C9 and TSM. It is going to be monstrous, and C9 will be looking for revenge because TSM did beat them in that first week.
Dang, dude, firing shots at NRG. It's already in the finals. Well, we'll see. I don't know about that. Yummy Catnip Frenzy from downtown lands onto Juan. Juan, you gotta get out of here, bud. Shimmer Strike buys a little bit of time. He's trying to kite back, but he's dead. Lightning T getting trolled out as he can't hit the Malice and Verdict. You gotta get out of here, bud. Best Chuck. Jump Jets back to get the lane farm because, hey, why not? Just max efficiency. Can't blame the guy for that. And once again, Team Solo Mid taking another fight. 7-1, 9.5 minutes in. And big net worth advantage as well. These guys aren't even thinking about cracking. This is one of those games where Team Solo Mid's like, yo, like we could push, but like we also kind of want to wait for the Kraken, but I could cook a pizza by the time Kraken's gonna spawn.
Can you believe it's only 10 minutes into the game, Humanist? And it feels like it's much later because of how far TSM have pushed up NRG here, all the way up to their choke point turret. The CS differences between Von C and Lightning T, they tell the story of the game. It was almost double a moment ago, now 20 or so. That is a massive advantage for Von C to have in that jungle, as well as the 2-level advantage that he has maintained since level 4. Just massive advantages for Von C, and all gained in part due to their early rotations and the pressure that FlashX put on at level 1. It was all snowballed from that position, and that's so beautiful about Vainglory. You can make a play at level 1 that can help you snowball the game and maintain an advantage for you across the board.
Yeah, my question though is like, how much are NRG? Obviously, I don't know. I'm just speculation here. Are playing against TSM as far as scrims or practice or whatever? Because like Flash made the same play a couple times in a row, and if they were gonna rotate as 3, I think they should have just dropped someone down behind them. It would have been an easy kill onto the Adagio. I think even with the boots. Yeah. Because he took so much damage there. You saw when they poked him in that first rotation, but you know, just speculation at this point. NRG.
I think they. So yeah. I think they thought the presence of 3 would be enough to ward Flash off. Like, they rotated as a team, so Flash was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't take this because there's 3 members there. Shaq's ain't scared of that. Like, he knows his limitations on Adagio, and he played it so perfectly, Humanist.
So much perfection. Flash is just a beautiful mind, really. That weapon blade to start plus the boots. I mean, who thinks of something like that?
Flash X, apparently.
Flash X, apparently. Well, Best Chuck jumps forward, 529 damage on that attack onto Juan. Juan's gonna go ahead and get healed up by that sigil. Very nice amount of healing coming out. It doesn't come out as fast as that damage is coming out of Best Chuck. Best Chuck really respecting Juan. He's really just not moving forward here. TSM kind of slow rolling this one. Are they gonna move back and just do like a surprise attack out of this brush? Please tell me they do that.
They still need to be careful of the fact that Best Chuck has got very little defensive itemization. He can still be burst quite easily here by NRG, especially on Hernandez with these double items that he's picked up. So they do still have to respect what NRG can bring to the table. The Chakram, you see, took about a 5th of HP away, a 6th of HP away from Best Chuck. So, you know, it's not something that they can take lightly here.
They can't take it lightly here. As they move forward, once he's going to take the backs, a little extra money in his pocket. TSM are rich right now. Filthy rich. I mean, are you excited with what's happening? Is this just the clean play?
I mean, this is what I expected from this game, though. I mean, we talked about it before. TSM and C9, I feel like a country mile ahead of most of the opposition in North America right now. They make it look that way anyway, with the way that they play. It's just so clean in the early game, and again, especially the captains, you know, FlashX and Gabe, some of their early game plays that help facilitate their junglers. It's just so good. Such good presence of mind as well.
All right, well, presence of mind for Von C to move in onto Lightning T. That's a pretty good target. Lightning T will get healed up, but burst down. They're able to take out Best Chuck traded for Lightning T. Now, Juan doing his best to trade. The Chakram's going to come through. Can he stay alive? It's Vainglory8 and Juan who can get the damage out. They're burning down Gift of Fire. Flash X will get the kill. Of course, Flash comes through. What a god. Bradley gonna do his best, but Vainglory8's like, oh, I actually know where you're gonna go. I'm thinking 3 steps ahead of you, and you're dead. That's an ace for Team Solo Mid.
That was still close though, Humanist. Look at the way that NRG approached that fight. They went directly to Best Chuck, knowing that they had the best opportunity to blow him up. As soon as Lightning T, focused by Vainglory8, he jumps on the sigil and runs directly at Best Chuck, combined with Juan Hernandez. But at this point, it was similar to what we saw yesterday. You leave a Koshka with a broken myth and an aftershock, you leave her alone in a fight, she will rip you to pieces when she builds up those broken myth stacks. And that's a testament to how far TSM is ahead. You take out their late, Vainglory8 still cleans up the rest of the fight. You know, that's catch-22 for NRG. You feel like you want to burst Best Chuck, but if you leave Vainglory8 alone while you're bursting Best Chuck, Vainglory8 kills your entire team.
Yeah, I mean, if they played that a little differently, I think it honestly could have gone the other way. Which makes you wonder, like, was TSM getting a little loose with that fight? Or did NRG just outplay them? Arcane Passage forward the Drifting Dark as well. Lightning T is going to hang back as he throws out the Malice and Verdict. It is Juan on the front side. And he's going to get Best Chuck. He's still alive, actually. Koshka will be able to find the damage. And Flash it's going to get the kill. Lightning T is going to go down. And once again, it's just kind of same old story. Bradley, last man standing. Bradley goes down. Another ace here for Team Solo Mid. And Kraken will be out on the map shortly here, but how about another gold miner?
I mean, exactly the same story as the last fight there, Humanist. It was like a deja vu fight. NRG know that they can burst out Best Chuck. Best Chuck has got 0 defense. This is often what you see on a Baron. Baron does not consider defense, as he likes to go towards 4 items as quickly as possible in terms of those offensive capabilities. But Vainglory8 untouched. It's still very close fight, Humanist, you feel, for the most part. But Vainglory8 untouched goes straight in, just blows up everybody because he's untouched throughout the fight.
Don't touch Vainglory8. That's
pretty much what I said, yeah.
Flash has Shatter Glass, so that's pretty
exactly cool. Yeah. He picked that up as well. A boosts his ability to deal damage to Gift of Fire and Agent of Wrath, but also adds a little bit extra to his healing. I think the Dajo's got a better scaling with health on his healing, but increases the damage potential with the Agent of Wrath as well, which is very important for Vainglory8 specifically because of the attack speed that he's got when he's using that Yummy Catnip Frenzy and the Twirly Death. You know, he just jumps in, gets a couple of big basic attacks with Agent of Wrath, and very important for Vainglory8's dueling potential if Best Chuck's getting focused.
Absolutely, those basics are so buffed up between the Twirly Death and of course Agent of Wrath. Now Bradley moving forward, he tries to get in there, but it takes so much damage right off the bat. Interesting engage. Well, they actually put Best Chuck to sleep, and they're going to take him out. NRG are winning this fight so far. Vainglory8 taking damage now. This is the best fight NRG has had so far. They're going to take Vainglory8 down as well. And NRG, what's up, buds? Flash, throw a flare, because that's about all you could do there. NRG, they're going to take Kraken as well. What a turnaround.
I mean, we just talked about the fight that NRG had been playing there. They are playing it so well. Bradley's like, they know the only way to get a man advantage, which despite gold leads will be able to net you basically an advantage in a team fight, because you obviously, like I said, you have a man advantage by just barreling in onto Best Chuck, who does not have any defense, which by the way, he has now bought defense. It's so easy for them to blow him up. And then Vainglory8 slept up, didn't do what he was able to do in all the fights previously, which was build up those broken myth stacks and then become a nuisance.
The sleep was so good. They're going to block off the YCP as Lightning T kites back, but Vainglory8 is there, able to take him out. Juan Hernandez with a Shimmer Strike over the top. He'll go down, 464 damage coming out of your Baron. Arcane Passage, Vainglory8 takes the Wild Ride. He's got the move speed. Twirly Death there, 1 basic, 2 basics. 3. Oh, it's actually not going to be enough there. Oh, Bradley tries to do bounce. It's not going to be enough. Not going to be enough in the end. Vainglory8, actually, he's going to stay around and take the Crystal Sentry out while his teammates take down the Kraken. So they get some more gold, but NRG, I mean, they get a little bit off the map here. This is about the best they've done.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a little bit back in their back pocket, but again, TSM realized that if they can get a bit of damage down with Best Chuck before he gets focused, that was a fight that they were happy to take. And it needs to be TSM looking for an aggressive move and then a surprise counter engage from NRG to catch Best Chuck NA off guard, because both the times they took out Best Chuck NA, they kind of caught him off guard. I don't know whether that's happened enough now for Best Chuck NA to very unlikely for him to be caught out, but it worked twice. you have to feel that it'll be very difficult to make that work again for NRG, because Bestrakane is now kind of tuned into the fact that he has become a major target for a sort of almost a barrel roll in from Bradley and Juan Hernandez using that portal from Lyra.
Oof.
He also picked up the coat of plates as well in that last engage, because he realized how easily he was getting burst by Juan Hernandez. He needs a bit of extra defense, and that coat of plates might be enough to keep him healthy in these fights, or at least healthy enough for Von C to do his work.
I think Best Chuck's just too busy checking his Twitter during these last couple fights. Like, he's just getting bombarded by followers after the shout-out.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's just so excited by all the notifications coming through. He's like, oh god, XXX Sniper 420, I just want to focus on the game, stop following me on Twitter, and it's coming up on my screen, I'm just pressing the wrong things.
Yeah. Someone's like, why did Flash build a Shatterglass? And he's like trying to respond. He goes down, Flash gets another kill. Someone tweets at him, why does Flash have more kills than you? Aren't you even the carry? And trying to respond, just fails again. We have to imagine that was what's happening. Best Chuck, uncharacteristic KDA farm here, 248. Of course, Flash picking up where he's left off. NRG, interesting place here. Scoundrel, Arcane Passages, they just trolled out 1C. This Juan Hernandez is in there. It's actually going to be right on to Best Chuck. Best Chuck taking a lot of damage. He will go down. As Von C chasing on to Juan here. Juan's going to go down to Von C. The whole time, Lightning T trying to find the damage, the Malice, the Verdict. He needs the Corrupted Genius. He can't get it. He goes down. Team Solo Mid have advantage as they take this fight 2-1 in their favor.
Every flight is playing out the same here, Humanist. Every single time. Best Chuck NA is just thrown the kitchen sink at by NRG. They just throw everything at him. Juan Hernandez and Light and Bradley just barreling in to put pressure on him. But Best Chuck now, with that coat of plates, surviving a little bit longer. And Von C able to just negate a lot of the CC coming his way, builds up those broken mid stacks, and does exactly as he has done in some of the previous fights. Runs away with the fight because everybody is so busy focusing Chuck that nobody is focusing Von C.
But let's be real. Let's be real, okay?
Yeah, okay, I'm real. I'm
okay,
being
now
real right
Team
now.
Solo Mid are winning this game, all right?
Yeah.
You know, we're joking around, we're having fun, blah, 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 all right? We're casting this game. It's a little out of control for NRG. But NRG have won some fights and potentially almost won a couple fights. They are so far behind in net worth. It's disgusting, but they're taking fights off TSM.
Tactically,
that is a big problem.
Exactly. Tactically, the way that they are approaching these fights is very, very good. Tactically, they have looked fantastic in the way that they've attempted to take fights away from TSM here. Best Chuck NA's now got Metal Jacket. I think it'll be a lot harder for them to make that tactic work.
Rip. No tactics here. Lightning T, he's going to get shot down. And Juan should be going down. I don't think he finds the damage he needs. No, Best Chuck's there. Best Chuck finding the damage he needs. And they just ripped right through. I mean, that was just obvious. That was real obvious. I mean, I guess they didn't have the God's Eye view like we did as spectators, but they just threw Drifting Dark and walked forward there. That was gross.
But also Best Chuck's use of his jump jets there to get out of position, completely juked the entire NRG roster right there. That was important. That was a really important jump from Best Chuck, and that's going to secure the game for TSM. I want to give massive credit to Juan Hernandez, by the way. Humanist, he might be 2-9-3, which looks like a bad score. His use of Idris ultimates this game are some of the best I've ever seen.
Well, you do play with Dowsey quite a bit, so it makes sense. Just kidding.
Dowsey's pretty good. Dowsey's pretty good, but
I'm just kidding.
But Juan Hernandez's ultimate use this game, I thought was really impressive. Despite obviously losing some of the abilities that he managed to dodge, Yummy Catnip Frenzy, he managed to dodge Adagio ultimates in really key situations. I think he looked really good. But TSM did TSM things, and Von C with that early game advantage ran away with it.
Yeah, beautiful stuff out of Team Solo Mid. Questionable, though, as they lose a couple fights, being so far ahead in net worth. But, guys, you know, Tasty Bacon, Sweet J, I'm curious, what do you think it was? NRG making the plays, mistakes from TSM, but break this one down for us.
Yeah, just as Humanist gets serious at the end of that cast, so do TSM and finish out the game. But I'm curious, just like Humanist, like, what do you think it was that was the NRG were able to take any fights off TSM?
Yeah, there was 3 critical fights. Chuck got slept 3 times, and he got killed all those fights every time. And then the third one, they actually won the fight at Kraken because Chuck got slept again, got deleted immediately, and then Juan was healthy enough to then take on Koshka. So I think that was a key part of the fight. The sleeps, the Oblivion sleep needed to be blocked, and it wasn't blocked for whatever reason 3 times.
Yeah, it was a fairly sloppy play from Team Solo Mid. Like, this is if they play like this, this is the TSM that doesn't finish first place. This is the TSM that, you know, has struggles against